This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and the crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Good morning. Right back like we never left. Another Saturday morning with the W Show, Kansas City, talking sports and pop culture. You're listening to the W Show 100.1 FM 1 Kansas City Radio. Watching us live on one of the social media pages at the W Show KC. We appreciate you tuning in. My name is Steve Walls, and as always, I'm joined by the other host of the show, DJ Q, Jazz, and No. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
What's up, family?
Good morning.
How was everyone's week?
It was great. We had sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the weather, man. I can't even lie to you. It feels good. You just want to be outside when it's like this.
We hit
Finally.
we hit 70 degrees a couple of days this week. Did you guys get out and enjoy the weather? I got out yesterday a little bit, but how about you all?
Got out there a little bit. I know you went and swing some golf clubs, didn't you?
No. I plan on trying to get to do that today. Peyton and I went to the batting cage yesterday, but I didn't get out there and swing them yesterday. But I'm planning on doing that today and tomorrow, actually.
All weekend with it.
Yeah.
Well, compared to our top golf scores, I need to get out there and swing them up.
Exactly.
Disappointed in you, Jazz. I can't lie. I'm disappointed. I thought you were gonna show them up for me.
Hey, me too.
Hold on though, because No, it's just like neck and neck right there with you and No.
Hey, don't compare me to Noel. I'm not at Noel's level.
I mean,
I'm
just saying when I hit the ball, it went somewhere actually. So I scored points. I feel like when I hit the ball, so like I can't be the worst player.
I got some redemption. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, so the like I said, the early part of the week was good. Then got to the tail end of the week. Friday was going good until I heard Drake's voice and him drop Patrick Mahomes in his song. The song was dope. However, Patty Mahomes, I should say, that lyric was not what I expected. Don't drop Patty Mahomes, Drake. Please don't.
The Drake curse is lifted though.
Nah,
Didn't LeBron? He just won the championship, and he name drops Braun all the time.
Yeah, he name dropped Bron and his son, and look what happened to his son. His son, tore his ACL and had reconstructive surgery on his knee. So come on, and Drake is shown up to a bunch of Bronny James's games earlier.
All right, let's go ahead and nitpick then. Let's just find out where we can.
You know what they say? Sometimes it can skip a generation. And I think he skipped that generation and went down to his son.
Nah.
It was dope. The little EP. It really wasn't even an EP, just a little teaser. It was good though. What's y'all's favorite song on there?
Mine is the lemon pepper one, even with the name drop. Yep.
Going lemon pepper.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it's decent.
You can tell when Q's not feeling an album because he's like, it was alright.
I already knew he wasn't though, like, because he just like I knew it wasn't. This wasn't for Q. This was just for the fans. It wasn't really like that deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is just a teaser. You know, when Drake releases a lot of rapping, that means his album's going to be a lot of singing. Mm-hmm. You know, you guys got to start paying attention to Drake cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, coming up on today's show, the Kansas City Chiefs and GEHA announced naming rights agreement for GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. Kentucky Senate passes bill allowing high school seniors extra year of eligibility. I cannot wait to talk about that. And another one I can't wait to talk about is top Nike executive resigns after report of her son using her credit card for sneaker resale business. And coming up in about 30 minutes, we will have our sneakers of the week during our Hate It or Love It segment. And like I said, just a few minutes, we'll get to our headlines. But I want to send a quick shout out to all of the girls and boys basketball teams advancing past their district championship games that happened all this week. And one that I would like to mention, Q, you'll like this one as well. Center High School girls basketball team won their first district tournament in a few years. And they'll move on to high school in the first round of sectional. So shout out to them.
Yeah, Lady Jackets.
That's right. Right. And also shout out to our guy Jared Dyson. Dyson is rejoining the Royals on a 1-year contract. So it's been reported that Dyson will be back with the Royals on a $1.5 million deal. Dyson, of course, he's 36 years old, and he spent the first 7 seasons with the Royals, hitting .260 with .325 on-base percentage and 176 stolen bases in 550 games. He spent last season with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago White Sox. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see him come back, especially how, ownership allowed that team to run away.
For sure. And of course, Dyson helped win the World Series. He was with the Royals back in 2015, scoring the title clinching run on Christian Colon's 12th inning single in Game 5 against the Mets at Citi Field. And I think, Dyson, he'll be a key part of this Royals run, because right now, when you look at it, the Royals have to win at least, 75, 80 games this season. I mean, new ownership, coming off of a couple of seasons where you're down after that championship run. It's time.
Yeah, it's definitely time. The city needs it.
And I mean, from an outside perspective, the addition of Dyson may not seem significant. However, when you bring in some old guys, that reunion, and then his personality is infectious. The guy that's been on the championship, like I said, the championship run teams, and you got a bunch of young guys that you've brought up through your farm system, and now it's time for those guys to start panning out. So having a guy like Dyson in the clubhouse would definitely mean a lot for those guys.
It's all about the championship pedigree. It's all about that. It's all about that. Once you bring in somebody who's on a run with you, who knows what it takes, was there for all, 200 some games almost. He definitely knows what it takes, and he'll be able, like you said, those young guys coming up will, have somebody to look up to. So that's dope for the Royals, really.
Yeah, and you look at it when the Chiefs brought in Terrell Suggs, and was able to utilize his locker room presence throughout the playoffs and into the Super Bowl win last year. So.
Yeah, I just can't wait till Thursday, April 3rd. As some Royals season ticket holders, that's the home opener for the Kansas City Royals, and some season ticket holders have already received emails confirming the Royals' plans to allow fans this season. Fans will, of course, have to sit at least 6 feet apart and wear masks unless eating or drinking, and then there'll be a buffer zone between the dugouts and where fans are sitting, meaning fans, they won't be able to sit close to the dugout or close to the field.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the precautions are needed. So
for sure. All right, let's get to today's headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on the W with Walls and the Crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
The Kansas City Chiefs and GEHA announced naming rights agreement for Arrowhead Stadium. The stadium staff will begin integrating the GEHA branding and logo assets throughout the venue in the coming months, and the stadium signage will be in place by the kickoff to the 2021 Chiefs season. Let's hear from Chiefs President Mark Donovan first.
So the process is key. We've been at this for almost a decade now, and we set out a pretty high bar. When we started talking to organizations about forming a partnership like this. And that bar included some requirements. Number one, we were looking for a large employer who had a presence in Kansas City, someone who had a national footprint, somebody who served the community that we are in, and somebody who had a real deep respect and understanding of Chiefs Kingdom, and specifically with naming rights of the stadium, and an understanding of what Arrowhead represents to our fans, to the world. As you guys know, it's a bucket list sports venue. And in GHA, we found someone who checked all those boxes. In addition to checking those boxes, a company that serves federal employees, retired military, and their dependents, and creates wellness programs and opportunities to have them live a healthier life. It's really a unique combination that we're fortunate to be able to not only find, but also create a partnership that makes sense for both sides.
I'm in agreement of that, that partnership. Now, of course, the fans, in Chiefs Kingdom, they're happy that they haven't taken away that Arrowhead name, right? Because I think that's a staple in football. Arrowhead Stadium always been a tough place to play for, opposing teams. And just that name, Arrowhead, is just, it's Kansas City. And you don't want to take away that Kansas City name and a Kansas City staple.
For sure. And that's what I was thinking when I first heard the news. It was like, how can we change the name of the stadium? That's always been it. That's what you know. Mm-hmm. So I same thing. I agree. I'm glad that they could still keep that incorporated somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. And the Bills have proposed a rule change that would level the playing field for offseason coaching and execs. They've proposed a rule preventing interviews for coaching and front office positions until after conference championship games, a source confirmed to The Athletic. And the teams would not be allowed to hire for coaching or front office vacancies until after the Super Bowl. We'll start with you, Noah. What are your thoughts?
I like the rule. It was always kind of a weird situation, coming into the season. Teams that aren't in the playoffs, they're looking to hire, their, future head coach. Most of the time it's their future head coach. And, they're choosing from, these coordinators that are still in the, still playing, still actively playing. So it was kind of a weird situation, but I kind of like that, just kind of wait, have them be able to be hired, whenever they want to be. So I like the proposed rule change. I don't know how long it'll take for it to, come into, play, but I like the proposed rule change.
Yeah, the proposal seems cool. I'm not sure if it matters. I mean, if the best teams are in the playoffs, they're normally pretty set. You don't really see too many coaching changes come from, these teams in the playoffs. It's rare. But I kind of like the rule, mostly because it levels the playing field. You would hope that it makes it more equitable across racial lines for some of the black coaches that are on better teams. But yeah, I'm going with it, especially for change in the NFL.
Yeah, it kind of hits close to home though too. When you look at Eric Bieniemy and the past couple of seasons, especially this past couple, this last coaching cycle, when you think about that and how he was, and I don't want to say throw the word blackballed out there, but it's starting to look like that. When he's definitely a viable candidate, because when you bring in those assistant coaches and they become working with good quarterbacks. And you tell them that they have to go from, being a player coach to then being an assistant coach or some type of defensive coordinator or a coach like that. And then you don't hire them. It's kind of, a slap in the face, so to speak. And so I think this rule change would definitely benefit coaches like that.
For sure.
Definitely.
And in his situation, I even looked at it from like the distraction standpoint, because being in those conferences, and I remember people were asking him, about what his next moves were before the Super Bowl and everything. And he kept on saying, I'll take that step when I get there. So I like it from that standpoint, like that all decisions need to wait until after that big game and you focus on next year. next year.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll continue our top headlines discussion and find out what a Nike executive's kid did to cause her to resign from Nike. This is the W Show.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live. You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
And what seems like everybody's been waiting to talk about. Top Nike executive resigns after report of her son using her credit card for sneaker resale business. Steve, you've obviously expressed that this you're ready on this one. How would you feel if Peyton pulled one of these?
It's not the fact of, and I think people are getting it kind of confused, that the kid basically created his own empire. He was able to get hundreds of pairs of shoes, create his own business, and then resell those shoes for a higher value, which in turn made him some money. Now, I don't think that that's a bad idea. If Peyton did something like that, I'm like, all right, cool. But then I think when the problem, there's two issues. The problem is your mom had a company credit card, and he used the company credit card to purchase, I believe it was the Yeezy 350. He spent $136,000 on that credit card, and it wasn't his mom's card. It was the company's, Nike's card. And then not only was it Nike's card, but then you went and bought some Adidas. Like, Nike doesn't play that,
Right.
You had two fouls. You not only use your mom's card, but then you went and bought some Adidas with that to make money. So, shout out to him for being an empire with that. But it's just another one of those young kids that have the endless amount of money, and we're not able to get sneakers. Sneakerheads like myself, he's one of the reasons why. He goes out and purchases those $300 bots for each one of the sneaker releases, and he gets hundreds of sneakers, and which limits people like myself. So I'm upset behind that, but for the most part, I think it's cool that he was able to actually start a business and create some wealth for himself.
Yeah, and Steve, we're not going to allow you to completely absolve Ann Herbert and Nike because they were in on it. It's not this much money that moves within a global company like that. And I'm pretty sure not that much money moves in her home without her not knowing about it. And then they also told Nike about it in 2018, and Nike was like, So, the business and her definitely use this to capitalize. And they probably should have muzzled the son if they didn't want this to come out like this. So, yes, as Alexa says, it's not a shock that Nike's in on this resale culture. They definitely are. And the kid is taking the fall for the corruption, I believe, that's behind the scenes. So.
No, it's the thing about it is Nike said that they knew about it. I mean, people do it all the time. I mean, I can go buy a $170 pair of shoes and flip them for $500. That's not hard. However, it's when you use a company card, to pay for it. So Nike didn't want you to use a company card. Like, you can do it all you want, but then when you go save money to buy, it just doesn't work like that.
And when your mom is overseeing online sales as well, it still looks a little shifty. Yeah.
I wish my mom worked for Nike.
Exactly, but you wouldn't be able to get away with that.
That was whack. It was the wackest part about it though was him flexing on IG. That was the worst part about it to me. It was like, you got all of this because you've built this business, because I used to do the same. I used to do the same thing back in the day. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2009, 2010. I was doing the same thing, not to that scale, but I was doing that. And you make money off of it. It's cool. It's not an original idea. But then when you're like, it's getting to the point of where people actually want the sneakers, and you're this guy and you have the hundreds of pairs and they're just sitting in warehouses waiting on people to pay $400 or $500 for them. And it's just like, man, like, come on, man, at least like siphon a little bit of that off. Like you already have all the advantages in the world, man. You have this mother who works for Nike. You're able to drop $136,000 and Nike doesn't even turn its head. Come on, man, at least let's share some of the wealth, man. But I mean, it's not like that when we're in a capitalistic society, and it's all about that bottom line. So
they've gentrified sneaker culture.
Here's the thing. I'm not even mad though. Like, I mean, he's playing his card, and I can't be mad at that. You're gonna play your card, then do it. Then do it. I mean, because at the end of the day, we all do. If we could do it and get away with it, we would on the sneaker end. Because I can't even say it over here and say it. My mom used to work for Sprint, right? She would tell me when the new phones would drop, and I get ready and be ready to buy it when it came out.
Was your mom an exec at Apple that was allowing you to buy this under retail and then being able to sell it over retail? But no, Steve,
I would use it to my advantage.
No, Steve,
I would. Yes, man.
Yeah.
You can't sit over here and tell me, Q, if your mom's work was an exec at Nike and you had the end or the plug on some sneakers and was able to get them before they dropped and then resell, you wouldn't do it.
No, because I'm not a cheater like that. Like I don't care about cheating like that.
And also, we don't have the skin to win in this game.
Exactly.
Like,
so
if this was a young black kid who was coming up, same situation. Mom works as an executive at Nike, all of that. He would be looked at as an actual criminal. And what some of this kid's action, I've read plenty of stories on it. Some of this kid's actions, what he was allowed to do is definitely on the shady side. Shady enough to where if it was a young black kid, I have 100% I guarantee you he would be looked at as an actual criminal and charges would come.
Oh, of course. And it would be national attention and it'd be call it the National Guard. Yeah,
listen,
Steve,
I'm not downplaying that. I'm not downplaying that part of it. That part of it. I'm just, within the sneaker culture and within this is just what goes on. I mean, you got to understand that if you're gonna play the game, you got to be there to play it. And he's definitely playing the game. It's nothing but a game, honestly.
Yeah, and it's just because that's the way it is doesn't make it okay. Like just because that's the way people cheat doesn't make it okay, Steve. Like they make these.
You know that, Q.
But again, it shows the level of corruption that goes on at the top of these corporations within America, and it gets exposed because you have dummies.
I agree, but I think ultimately, if it wasn't to the ops, Adidas, I don't think this story would be as big of a deal. It's only because he crossed over. To me, I think it's because he crossed over to the other side. That I agree. I think that Nike's in on it. I think that it's a way bigger picture than they're wanting to make it, but they have to put it in news somehow. But I think the biggest line that he crossed was the Adidas line.
Yeah, and like Alexa said, I mean, he did flex on Instagram. He did do that, but who doesn't? It's like if
people who don't want to get caught don't do it.
If I'm able to buy hundreds of pairs of shoes and I'm trying to flip them, I'm posting them on social media. That's gonna create a buzz. Like, man, how is he getting all these kicks?
Not past a certain point. You're not doing that. You're not doing that past like. Okay, I get like promoting your business, but there's ways to promote your business without looking like you're actually, because we all know once we see that picture, people who like sneakers, once they see that picture, we know what you're doing behind the scenes. Like we know you have the bots, we know you have connections that might be less than like ideal if they were to come out. We know it's like shady. It's literally telling on
shady.
Yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely shady. And then you can't tell people you started from the bottom and your mom is a top executive. Please get out of here.
Here's the thing, though. There are some of us that have those sneaker plugs that use them to our.
They aren't executives.
There are some executives, and I'm not even going to sit here and say that there's not, because there are some executives that do use their sneakers as a tool to generate money, generate income. There's some executives that they got family members that are able to use their Nike vouchers and go buy stuff with those vouchers and then resell it. And that's us. I know
in the hundreds
from that. In the hundreds, yes.
In the hundreds, no, in the hundreds of pairs, Steve.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Stop it.
So you think he's the only one?
No, I don't. No, I definitely don't think he's the only one. And he was probably the biggest one that got caught.
So you don't think that there's a young black kid out there that has a parent that's a Nike exec that is doing the same thing?
No,
I can't say that. I can't say that because for sure, I can almost guarantee there's at least one.
He gonna have to walk around like he gonna have to find out a way to not run into these millions of other people who love sneakers because they haven't been able to get them for years because he's the one that's been buying them all. He better avoid all hoods.
For sure. But JJ Watt agrees to a 2-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Multiple reports have the deal for 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year for potentially $31 million with $23 million guaranteed.
Man, he went to a team where another one of his an ex teammate had petitioned him on social media and was like, "Hey, come on out here." D-Hop posted on social media, "Let's finish what we started." And he also posted, JJ Watt posted that he believes in Kyler Murray. So with that being said, and I don't think next season they're going to go out there and be a contender. They'll be a contender, but I don't think that they're going to make a splash like folks think that they will.
No, and he's overpaid for one. You're paying for the brand name, and I get it. You want a guy that demands a lot of attention in the middle. And especially when you're in a division with a Russell Wilson, which might not be for too long, but way overpaid. And he's hurt a lot. So I'm not. I hate this for the Cardinals and for young talent that actually could have taken up that space. And JJ Watt is going to turn into an Alex Smith that's just holding a team hostage.
I don't see the point in this signing. I really don't. He could have, if he want. Now I do see his point. It's like they're going to offer me $31 million. Why not for over 2 years? And it's more in 23 guaranteed. That's a great deal for him. But as far as like winning for the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, they let's be real here. They don't get to sign a whole lot of prime free agents. Not a lot of people go to the Arizona Cardinals. They're not a prime spot, which I mean is weird because they're in Arizona. The weather is great. I'm sure like there are other advantages, but this signing doesn't. If he wanted to win, if he wanted to go somewhere and win, it doesn't make sense. He could have went to a lot of places and gotten a whole lot better situation. But $31 million, it makes sense to me.
He's getting a paid vacation.
I think a lot of it too is his current ranking on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he's ranked. Pro Football Focus has him ranked, I believe top 20 on defensive players as a whole. I believe he had like 5 sacks last season. So, I mean, they're paying for his current, ranking and not even what his potential is, but what he's done in the past.
That's what I'm saying. You're paying for the brand name. Yeah,
and he can help. I believe he's definitely. I'm not saying he's the key piece that's going to push them over the hill, but he can help. He can do something. I don't think JJ Watt at this point in his career is a every down player.
No, he's definitely not, and he's far too injury prone. I'm looking forward to the day that we start talking about should Arizona drop him to make room for somebody else.
For sure. He's chasing the bag. But five-time NBA All-Star and current TNT analyst Chris Webber will be teaching a new course at the legendary Morehouse College called Activism in Sports and Culture. The course will be hosted on the online education provider, and Webber, who played 15 seasons in the NBA with 5 teams, looks to inspire the next generation of activist athletes and give context about those who preceded them. We'll start with you, Q.
I love it. It especially being at an HBCU. We saw Dion going to Jackson State, and now we see Chris Webber going here to Morehouse. There's a tide turning, and especially in college sports. And the Division I schools are going to have to do something about it. And especially when you bring all of this attention, this cool factor to it, like imagine being taught by somebody in the Fab Five, and you are a college basketball fan. So yes, this brings appeal to Morehouse, even though within the Black community, Morehouse doesn't need more appeal. Like it's one of those cool HBCUs, one of the HBCUs to be at. And it probably helps that it's right next door to Spelman and Clark. So I love it. And especially the activism side, because formally taught activism from a historic stance needs to be studied and needs to be modernized, really.
For sure.
I agree with you, Q. And he has some stories. The article that was written about this is the fact that he has some stories that he wants to share. But his mom was an educator. So I mean, it's in his blood. And I think a lot more athletes need to go and do this. They need to give back and teach. And I'm not saying that they don't, but a lot of it is not publicized, and we talk about the HBCUs all the time, and the reason that folks need to start going there and need to start, like you said, Q, making it cool again. And I think that this is another step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are he's reached the status where we like to call, OG. Like we mentioned the Fab Five. You don't even realize that the Fab Five was 1989, 1990. That's 30 some years ago. Like he's lived, as far as basketball goes, he's lived it from the early 90s all the way up until now. He's seen everything. He's there when Jordan was in the league dominating, and he was like covering the league while LeBron is still covering the league. LeBron is still at the top. So it's like he has all this, wealth of knowledge, and for him to, take it and go to an HBCU is huge. Like he needs to talk directly to these kids, share the stories. And I read a little bit how he wants to talk, a little bit about Spencer Haywood. He was like, there wouldn't be a LeBron James or Michael Jordan without, Spencer Haywood, the case with him. And I think that's huge. That's very huge that he's going to, take his time and speak directly to these young Black kids that need to hear this information. I mean, everybody needs to hear it, but I think, it hits different when it's directly to the kids. So I love it. I love everything about it that I read.
Definitely.
I agree. And somebody else who seems to be shining in the NBA right now is Harden. Brooklyn Nets guard James Harden has been in the news a couple of times this week, including his retiring his jersey. They are stating that the basketball star will forever be a Rocket. And Tim also said, of course, we will retire his jersey. He made my first 3 years of owning the franchise unforgettable. And we'll start with you, Noel.
It goes without saying. It's more than deserved. The Rockets franchise, it has a long history, a lot of great players, but he's right at the top along with Hakeem Olajuwon. And so he deserves it. The breakup may have been a little messy, a little, dramatic, but it doesn't take away from what he, brought to that franchise. That was, right after Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady kind of went down, they kind of had a lull. And then they found, this guy just coming off, being a sixth man with another team, and he turned into a full-blown superstar. Like, you know, possibly easily one of the best players in the league, but possibly like the best at one point. He won an MVP. He finished top 3 in MVP voting a couple times. So he brought a lot of stuff to that franchise. So he deserves it. I mean, he deserved the tribute video. He deserved his number retired. His name should hang in the rafters forever with that franchise. So I'm happy for it.
I agree, no. But when you think about what he's done for just the city, also off the basketball floor, he did a lot for Houston. A lot of people don't understand that he gave a lot of his money away, right? To the folks down there. I mean, when any tragedy or anything catastrophic has happened in Houston, he's been right there. He's been on the forefront of all that, and on the forefront of the movement as well. So, you know, I think at first when I read it, I'm like, what? They doing what? They retiring his jersey? Are you serious? And he hasn't won a championship there. But then I had to take a step back and think about what he actually did for the organization as a whole.
Yeah, the organization and the city as a whole. You always saw him on the front line, and especially having that kind of money. That type of money is able to rally in the troops. So you see a lot of guys in Houston, especially around the music industry, Trader Truth, Bun B and Scarface, a lot of them, and a lot of DJs around there definitely did rally the troops for a couple of different tragedies they had. And, you know, James Harden definitely brought a lot of that energy and financial impact behind those movements.
For sure. And speaking of the city, Q, Nick DePaula of The Undefeated reported that Harden's new white and black sneakers will be marketed not on Brooklyn billboards, but instead in shop windows of 25 minority businesses around the borough.
Yes, it's needed.
We love to see it. We love to see it.
We just talked about a white kid stealing wealth from a community that started sneaker culture. So yes, it instead of gentrifying sneaker culture, you know, advertise it, you know, in the communities that appreciate it.
For sure. I love to see it. But Kentucky Senate passes bill allowing high school seniors an extra year of eligibility. What are you guys' thoughts?
I'm in agreement with this. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, a lot of these kids, when you look at just not only from an educational standpoint, but from an athletic standpoint, and I'm looking at it solely from an athletic standpoint, a lot of these kids didn't get their full schedules. A lot of them didn't get to play, you know, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the state as a whole to look at it and say, all right, we're going to give these kids a 5th year, another year to possibly, you know, and better their stock, let's just say, because some kids weren't highly recruited like other ones. And now those same kids are going to be able to go and play another year. Man, I'm all for that.
I'm not necessarily for it. Steve and I talked about this the other day, and I believe it's a money play, especially after COVID. And then you look at these seniors possibly leaving the state and taking that money with them. I think it's all in that. The sentimental value, yes, of not having a senior season, yes. But I am not going to ask an 17 and 18-year-old kid to not go experience college or life outside of high school just to reminisce about a sport. And that, you know, I understand that. I understand the importance of athletics. We talk about it every week. But these kids need to go experience life. And it needs to be life outside of those high school walls. I hate this idea for the kids because it feels like we're holding them back.
I'm with you.
Here's the thing. Hold on, real quick. No, here's the thing about that. When you look at it from the top down, these college athletes are getting, you know, 5th year. Some of them are getting 2 years eligibility back. Now, let's say you're not a highly recruiter. Even some highly recruited kids are like, all right, well, I'm going to, let's just say, Florida A&M. right? I'm going to go to Florida A&M, but I'm going to be sitting behind for not only 1 year, but 2 years, a senior that plays my same position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back to high school, and it's like, all right, maybe I haven't signed on that dotted line yet, but I've given him a verbal commitment. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look like, all right, well, I haven't gotten all the offers that I want. Not only that, but you have these college seniors that are still going to be there. I'm going to try to go back and better my stock. I'm going to go back and all right, even though I may be 18, I may have, exhausted my eligibility in high school, but now that I'm getting that extra year, I'm gonna go back and try to make do what I didn't get to do. And I just look at it from my own experience. Like, I wasn't a highly recruited player out of high school. I had a couple of Division II offers, and actually an HBCU offer at Fort Valley State. But when you look at it, and from my own experience, it's like, all right, I would take that extra year. That way I can show what they said that, I could not do, or what I had some deficiencies in. I'm going to take this summer and I'm gonna work on it. And then I'm gonna go back and not have to take a red shirt year in college. I'm gonna go back and work on it in high school.
And then go back to your 17-year-old self and say, hey, would you want to live under your mom's roof for another year?
I mean,
no,
it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst time of my life.
Yes.
So I'm just from and I'm just like I said, I'm just doing it from a pure athletic standpoint to get that extra year, to possibly get some not only JUCO, Division II or whatever offers, and get a Division I offer. Man, hey, I do that each and every day of the week.
What about you, Noel?
I'm kind of on Q's side a little bit as far as this issue goes, just because I'm gonna take kind of a different route to it. And Steve mentioned, being recruited, not getting the eyes on you. I would rather see kids not get all in a fluff about being a Division I athlete if you haven't proven yourself in those 4 years, and you have like Steve said, he had a couple D2s, had an HBCU, smaller schools looking at you. Take those opportunities and make the most of them.
Yeah.
Because I understand why people would like to go to these universities that have these facilities, and, you can be successful there. They have everything you need, but these other schools, they have that as well, but they also have something that those other schools don't have. And that's open, positions for you to take. That's opportunity, I feel like. And I feel like people don't really look at this, the smaller schools. They look at them as the last resort. It's like, oh, well, I have them, so I might as well just go ahead. But I want Kentucky, but you know what? I guess I'll settle for this,
Western,
lower school, like in any, Western Kentucky or what, lower than D1 though. Like I'm really talking below the D1 line,
like a Drake or something.
Like, I really want people to, understand that, like, if you went on the AAU circuit or whatever the case may be for your sport, and you didn't get that D1 offer, I'd suggest you look into some of these D2s and these NAIAs. They have facilities. They have they have a great fan base. They're in a good area. Like, they have advantages, and I feel like people don't look at them enough. So that's what, when I saw this was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, don't just hold out for a D1 when there's a great D2 school that's looking at you. Like, let's Northwest up there in where is Northwest at? Maryville. Like, they have a great basketball program. Like, kids would kill to be in that facility. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
For sure. And it's hard for me on this one, especially because I went the D2 route, kind of same thing with Steve, like not really recruited as much out of high school. So I'm on the fence between going back to the drawing board and working all the kinks out and everything. But then for me, I started to think about like my senior year of high school and the senioritis. And I was like, man, I'm ready to get out. So I think right now, I would, like, looking back on my career, I would say, okay, yeah, I could have used another year to work on it and everything. But in the moment, I was ready to get out. I was ready to get out.
Definitely.
But
Yeah, I mean, knowing what you know now, or all of us were high school athletes, college athletes as well. Now, knowing what we know now, you would be able to go back and then fine tune what you need to work on, and then be like, all right, I'm gonna use this year as like my red shirt. Q, you was just all right. Well, never mind what Q was talking about because he didn't want to go back. He hated high school. But
no, I didn't. Loved high school.
Q doesn't want to go back to high school. But Nolan Jazz, knowing what you know now, would you like at least consider it? Like, all right, well, to get my stock up a little bit, possibly get that. Even if it's a lower Division I, a little bit better school than what you went to, would you at least consider it?
The only thing I would too. The only thing is I would have a sit down with my family, and I would actually, the only thing I would change is I would look at the actual environment that I'm going to, like everything that encompassed that, like where the school is at, what kind of, kids are already on the team with me and the coach. Because I feel like the schools that kids go to, they go for a name and what they kind of, hear, but you don't really investigate like what actually the school is, like what the school is actually about. I would do more on that end rather than like thinking about what I can do like on the court, because what I'm going to do on the court is I'm going to work hard regardless. So that's not really going to change. Like my ceiling isn't going to change because I'm going to work hard. What I would change is like looking at the actual school.
The research.
And
I agree.
And here's the thing about that too, is if you look at it from a money standpoint, and let's just say you got Missouri Western that's looking at you, and then you got Johnson County, right? But you don't want to spend that 1 year at Johnson County to pay, right, to go to Johnson County. I would rather just go back to high school, get that extra year, and then, go into whatever school I'm going to go to instead of going into that, taking that JUCO route, spending the money, and then hoping to get a college offer from that JUCO route.
For sure. Something to think about. Definitely something to think about. But we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we will have our Hate It or Love It segment and kick it off with our Sneakers of the Week. This is The W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to The W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live. You're tuned in to The W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It.
Hate it.
If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
Talk about it, message us, and we will talk about whatever topic you want. But we'll start off with our Sneakers of the Week. First, we have the Reebok Pump Omni Zone 2s, the D Browns. What are you guys thinking?
Yes, sir.
I'm highly upset I missed these.
Y'all can't see me, but I'm doing the thing. Now you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I like these. The pumps were always my favorite.
Yeah,
these are classics.
I thought they released today, but they actually released on Friday. So I was ready. My $140 is gonna go right to Reebok.
Yeah, they're smooth. Next, my personal favorite, the Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG University Blues.
Yeah. Aren't they sold out already?
Yep,
Not
sold
only
out
this
quickly.
morning, and the crazy thing about it, I had them in my cart on Foot Action, but then when I went to purchase, they said, "We're sorry, you have to cancel and retry to do it." I'm like, "What? Come on."
Hey, Ann Herbert got caught, but she didn't stop using that money.
That kid got all these sneakers right now in the warehouse.
He got them all right now.
For sure, he did.
Man. Next, the Nike Dunk Low City Markets.
I like these.
Yeah.
I'm rocking.
Yeah, these are one of those shoes that they're so ugly they look good.
Yeah, I'm with Q. I'm not feeling them. I don't think they kind of look like dingy or dirty to me, and y'all know how I feel about the messed up look already. And I'm just not feeling.
That's the look these days, though, isn't it?
It
I
is the
thought,
look, yeah.
I thought that's the look, like, because I like them. I don't know what the design is on them, but I like them.
Jazz, what we thought we looked at at Tampa that had the dingy look?
The goose grip, something about the
we was in the mall. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just can't get on the wave. I don't know. I like clean. I like crisp. I can't get with it.
I feel you.
Yeah, I'd go with these though. Mm-hmm.
But last but not least, the Nike Cosmic Unities.
Yeah, I like these.
Unity.
I'm not going with these.
No.
These are hoop shoe, isn't it? These are basketball shoe.
Yep,
I like them. I do kind of like them. They different.
If you look at the bottom, it kind of remind me of the Reebok Question.
Yeah, the bottom. Yeah, the bottom
definitely look like the Questions. I think this colorway is off. Give me another colorway, and this has tropical Skittles vibes.
Just a tad.
I see it, but I would definitely hoop in them. There's something different. Yep. They're definitely different. But speaking of different, Maya Chaga makes history as the first Black woman to officiate at the NFL level. Hate it or love it? Love
it. Hate it because it's 2021 and we're having the first Black and first woman anything. But it's a great stride for the NFL, especially for keeping a team around that appropriates culture. But
I love it. I love to see it. I don't know how you can hate this one
at all. Yeah.
But next, Florida A&M Athletics announced a 6-year agreement with Nike to make Nike the official athletic footwear, apparel, and equipment provider for the Rattlers beginning July 1st. Hate it or love it?
I love it. Steve gonna hate it. Steve gonna hate it because it's LeBron.
Yeah, he hates LeBron.
We're gonna be wearing LeBrons for 6 years.
No. I hate this one. And we talk about it all the time. It's another reason for student athletes to go to these HBCUs.
Oh yeah,
another reason. Y'all like?
Go back to those fear gods.
The fear gods. He's like, hold on, wait a second.
If you're listening to us on 100.1 FM, remember you can watch us also on our social media feeds, and you can see all of these sneakers that we have each and every week, plus our different advertisements that we have on here as well. But yeah, those fear guys are nice.
Yeah. Definitely.
Too bad I can't wear them anymore, but
yeah. But back to what I was saying though, these it gives another reason for student athletes, and not only that, but students to go to a school like FAMU, because now there's no reason to we don't have a lot of kids go to the Dukes and the KUs for Adidas and Duke for Nike. A lot of kids go to those schools for that Nike plug, the Nike, the swagger, what have you, apparel. And so it's given another reason for these kids to go there. They have no reason not to.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Less than a week after Zidane said LeBron James should do what you're good at and stay out of politics, the Swedish soccer player doubled down on his criticism Tuesday and continued to push the notion that athletes should just be athletes. Hate it or love it.
It's so funny that we claim we're like the smartest country in the world and all of this, and then we say, hey, athletes, just don't talk about anything that has to do with politics or anything that involves your daily life. Just pay attention to this. And they're not. So kudos to LeBron for
Let's hear what LeBron had to say.
You know, I would never shut up about things that's wrong. I preach about my people, and I preach about equality, social injustice, racism, systematic voting, voter suppression, things that go on in our community. Because I was a part of my community at one point and seeing the things that was going on, and I know what's going on still, because I have a group of 300 plus kids at my school that's going through the same thing, and they need a voice. And I'm their voice. I'm their voice, and I use my platform to continue to shed light on everything that may be going on, not only in my community, but around this country and around the world. So, if there's no reason, well, no, I won't say no reason, but there's no way I will ever just stick to sports, because I understand how this platform and how powerful my voice is. And he can just ask Renee Montgomery, if I would have shut up and just dribbled, seeing that beautiful Black woman today, be a part of a group where she's part of an ownership group now with the Atlanta Dream down in Atlanta. And it's funny he said that, because I believe in 2018, he was the same guy who said when he was back in Sweden, talking about the same things, because his last name wasn't a certain last name, that he felt like it was some racism going on when he was out on the pitch.
Yeah, love it.
He said it all. Yeah. Yeah. Bloop.
But 2021 NBA All-Star Game weekend, participants for the dunk contest, 3-point contest, and skills challenge rosters have been released. Hate it or love it?
I love the 3-point contest. All the others is like whatever.
The dunk contest doesn't have a lot of star power.
Yeah.
But that could be a good thing.
Could be, though. You're right. You could be right, Q.
Zach LaVine, everybody, who is this kid? And then, it's this kid.
Yeah, but when you look at the 3-point contest, though,
it looks great. It looks great.
I got that kid out of St. Louis, though. I do. I'm rocking with
Tatum.
Yeah.
I'm going with Book.
Yeah, Book got something to prove.
Yeah, he's he's injured. Devin Booker's not. He's not, because he's not playing in the actual All-Star game. He got replaced with Mike Conley. So he might not be shooting. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't think he's shooting then.
Yeah, I'll go LaVine. Well, it's hard to ignore Steph, but
I'm sticking with Steph. I'm sticking with Steph.
To ignore Steph. I think I'm gonna go Steph too, Jazz. I'm not gonna lie.
The old faithful. But since we're talking about All-Star Weekend, let's look at the roster of the game. Team LeBron James versus Team Kevin Durant. Who are y'all taking?
Oh,
yeah. KD.
Nah, LeBron has a bunch of young, not a bunch of guys under 6'5". He does.
Yeah.
So I might go with Team LeBron.
I'm going LeBron.
Yeah.
Team Durant don't have Kevin Durant or Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
okay.
The two best players on the team are pretty much not playing. Team LeBron may run away with this one.
Oh yeah. With that caveat, yes.
I agree. But March Madness courts at Lucas Oil Stadium named to recognize NCAA's commitment to inclusion and social justice. Hate it or love it?
I love it.
I love the message that it sends, but you hate it because if we're talking about equality, we're also talking about financial equity in that equality, and the NCAA doesn't stand for any of that. Show me with your actions.
For sure. I agree. And one cam that I wouldn't mind being on, the hand sanitizer cam, is now a thing at Milwaukee Bucks game.
The hand sanitizer cam. Let's get those hands clean. Here we go. Okay, this is fun. You got to catch the hand sanitizer, y'all, and get your hands nice and clean. There we go. Okay, this is hilarious. Yep, get the foam finger clean. There you go, raise the roof, clean the hands, raise the roof, wash, rinse, repeat. I feel you. Here it goes. Came through dripping. Drip, drip. Oh, it's all over you. You may need to wash your hair out a little bit. Got some hand sanitizer in it. Oh, drip right on the hoodie. Look at him. Wait a minute. Hold up now. This camera angle is great. Yep, I see you. I like that you're dancing with it too. Looking good. Great job, Bango. It's like, give me all the hand sanitizer. Keep me clean, 5-Star Forum. Oh, I don't know if we want to recommend that.
Oh my goodness.
Social media has ruined me. Do you hear me?
Ruined.
Social media has ruined me because I was even listening to her commentary in the back, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, this is it. What?
What?
Yeah.
Get it on the jersey? Get it on the hoodie? What?
Yeah.
Get it in your head? What?
Yeah. Yeah. She's seen there's something about Mary.
Yeah, for sure. For
All
sure.
right, we appreciate everybody that joined in on today's show. We love the comments. Remember, each and every week, if you want us to talk about a certain topic, hashtag talk about it, text us, tweet us, message us, and we will definitely talk about it. Until next week, we are out of here.
Opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.